Thank you for tuning in to Growing Tech Fast, the condensed Org3D podcast in which conversations about growing tech startups are had with those who have grown them. Today, I am joined by Gabriel Morgan, CTO at Producers Market. Gabriel, please set the scene for the listeners. Can you give everyone a little insight into your background and who Gabriel is?
Absolutely. And first, Rosie, let me start by saying thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be here and to be able to share my story. So I have about 25 years experience in technology. I started my career as a software engineer, then grew into technical leadership roles at Microsoft, REI, Rakuten, and Starbucks. Half of my career has been in the high-tech industry, solving business problems with the latest and greatest technology. And the other half in retail, designing systems that increase customer engagement.
Awesome. And tell me, because there's some big names in there, Producers Market, not everybody listening is going to have heard of them. What has made you join Producers Market? What about that mission has made you take the leap?
Yeah, it's a funny story, actually. It started by accident, really. I was at Starbucks when I got a call from a dear friend of mine who asked if I could help advise a tech startup that he is an investor in and advisor in with their digital marketplace architecture. And the marketplace focused on helping humanity by elevating products made naturally and produced sustainably. I didn't really know much about the market, but offered to help a friend if I could be of value, essentially. So what happened next, though, was amazing. Not only did I get a chance to meet some of the most wonderful people on the planet, I also learned about the business problems they aim to solve around things like food security, climate change, health and nutrition, social issues in underdeveloped nations, and so on. I became intrigued and began to do my own research and learned really about the cataclysmic cliffs humanity is headed towards in relation to climate change, food shortage, water shortage, nutritional health. And so I realize now that I'm educated and aware, I'm now implicitly responsible to do something about it. And so when Producers Market offered me the CTO position, I enthusiastically accepted.
Amazing. I think there aren't many people in England who would say that climate change isn't a real thing after the week we've all melted through. But I think I'd love to talk about that point a little bit more if you're happy to, because again, coming from big names, particularly a company like Starbucks, who've changed a lot in the past couple of years in making efforts to move away from those throwaway plastics. Straws in particular is one that comes to mind. But what was it about what you learned, about what you gained that knowledge on, that has kind of hit home and made you make that change?
No, you're exactly right. I've been lucky enough to have worked for companies that care and put a strong foot forward to making a difference socially, environmentally. And I think, though, the difference for me in this role, I would say that I have now is it sort of pivots from all of my life. I love seeing wonderful people get rewarded. I've had a chance to live overseas and throughout the US, and I've seen a lot, I would say. When I learned that agriculture industry is the single most important industry to solve for humanity's greatest crisis, like climate change, nutrition, food security, and that I can play a leading role with a technology vision and give those wonderful producers a digital marketplace that represents a profitable and sustainable business model to grow their business and elevate the people and planet positive products to the world. Quite frankly, I get really excited and eagerly wake up early in the morning to join a team and make a difference. Yeah.
Oh, that is amazing. I think anybody can relate to wanting a role where you jump out of bed and are excited to get on a Teams call or whatever you're using. I think we've just about got everybody itching to know, what is Producers Market? Tell us, where did the idea come from?
The idea for Producers Market arose organically from Keith Pagoda with his 15 plus years of experience in agriculture and food systems development. Keith is our CEO. In Keith's previous work to Producers Market, he was doing international procurement for a large US food distribution center. He was able to meet with many farmers and cooperatives across Latin America who experienced the challenge of direct connectivity to the markets. And so he knew at the retail points, consumers have really no idea where their products come from and the story of the producers. And so Keith envisioned a future in which data and information moved alongside the physical products in the supply chain for the benefit of both farmers and end consumers. This gave rise to the idea of producers market. We are at a pivotal point in the world, I'd say, with big challenges for us to solve in regards to climate, water, land use, and ultimately the food systems we rely on every day. Keith, our founder, saw a better way and leveraged his years of experience and personal network to increase an agricultural system fundamentally rooted in uplifting farmers and producers. A system that is built on transparency, trust, and delivers real impact, not just greenwashing marketing. So the result of Keith's vision is Producers Trust, which is the parent company for Producers Market. And we are now 5 years into our journey and have a rich partner ecosystem and a digital platform that is getting traction and momentum.
So I think listening to that, I think it takes a certain type of person who would go and actively go and find that information about where their food is from, where the things that they're going to the supermarket are from. I think I was very fortunate enough to grow up in an area where there were so many like small co-op organic style shops where my mum became very obsessed. So we were always told about it, but I know from walking around your average supermarket now, that is not something that everybody is privy to, and it's not the type of information that everyone actively seeks out. So from a customer's perspective, I can empathize with that, but how does Producers Market, what's the pitch to a business coming into Producers Market?
Yeah, and so I'm also on a learning journey for agriculture and what it means to bring, I guess, the journey of food to the table. But I would say what's interesting about what we've done is we've essentially built a business model via, you could almost use the term collaborative advantage. Mm-hmm. It's founded on an open and inclusive partner ecosystem that provides consumers traceability of the food on their table and the ability for organizations to de-risk their supply chains. And so, if anything, this is it is a disruptor in that it is a demonstration of how the supply chain can be more optimized as a value chain that is based on transparency and trust from the farm to the customer directly. And so the data we collect helps farmers make better choices for climate smart agriculture. And we can align these farmers with the values of consumers and organizations to show impact across the entire supply chain. So one of our specific offerings is StoryBird, which is a beautiful storytelling SaaS product designed to tell the producer's sustainability story in a way that is visual and compelling to customers who shop on our marketplace or on other e-commerce platforms we enable that match their values. I mentioned a rich partner ecosystem and a digital platform. We make this available to governments and large organizations through a platform license. And this allows them to collect, track, and manage data within their supply chain. These organizations have big, audacious goals around sustainability and climate, and our platform gets them there via measurable results faster and for less money than if they were to try to build it on their own. So we really are giving them a 5-year head start of learning and finding solutions that actually work. So finally, we're currently working on our e-commerce platform for Producers Market. There's a lot more to be done, but that's essentially the commerce platform that allows consumers to buy products based on the values and the impacts they want to see in the world. We give more equity back to the producers, so your shopping experience finally benefits them directly, not just the downstream organizations in their supply chain.
I love the sound of that. I think it's easy for somebody who would be a customer to resonate the most with that last platform, to be able to put that in and know that you're your hard-earned money is going into the places that you want it to. Equally, those who work really hard to get that produce out and to do it from sustainable methods. I think it's brilliant that you're giving back to them. On both sides, why is Producers Market the best, for lack of a better word, on the market?
Yep. No, that's a great question. So Producers Market, we pride ourselves on the ability to build partnerships across diverse supply chain geographies, categories, and stakeholders to solve complex challenges to global food security. So our flagship products, Producers Market and StoryBird, present a strong value proposition to improve supply chain efficiency and trust that incentivization, if you will, carbon offsets and insets is adopted throughout the supply chain. No one in the market today, and I know this sounds a little bit naive, does this. Most offerings in the market tend to be proprietary in nature, tend to be limited to a geography, limited to a set of organizations, if you will, to serve a particular business need, which is great. But unfortunately, we feel that in order to make systemic change, in order to make paradigm change in time to actually make a difference for the climate, we have to go broader than that. And so we are a market leader in describing product traceability at source and through the product's value chain, then visualizing that information to conscious buyers that match their values and are relevant to their interests. We're also an industry leader in our data capture programs, ensuring that the data in our platform is authentic and accurate. And that is no easy feat, especially understanding that about 80% of the food that humans eat on this planet is sourced from underdeveloped nations in very rural areas. So to reach those areas and understand and capture data and verify at source is complicated. So all said and done, our technology helps solve some of the world's biggest food security challenges by helping organizations and governments work more effectively and spend their budgets on the programs that make the most impact.
Yeah. What is, so you mentioned you're working on that platform, but next 12 months, you're tackling a huge problem that is going to take a long time to see the uplift of what you're doing. What's an immediate next 12 months goal for Producers Market?
Oh, it's still daunting, but yeah, we do need to focus. I'd say global food security and farmer well-being are at the core of our mission and purpose. We see our platform as solving many problems. I'll start with the macro problem of bringing sustainably grown, nutritious products to the world. As it turns out, to solve that problem, we require significant shifts in some very traditional supply chain systems. And so we break it down to three main areas. First, capturing and verifying producer data to track and monitor products to ensure they are actually nutritious and produced sustainably. Second, creating new products and revenue streams for the data captured to market and incentivize producers to continuously strive for adopting more sustainability practices that increase nutrition and downstream sustainability. And lastly, creating beautiful, personalized customer experiences that match customer values to the right products. Each of these three areas are huge domains in themselves. I'd love to go into them further if we have more time, to also explore some of the amazing innovations we are leading that involve new business models such as agripreneur or agripreneurism, as well as applying technologies like blockchain, machine learning, cloud, Internet of Things, and so forth.
Let's take it on a level below that, because for you joining Producers Market, you're working to the overall mission of the company and everything that you've just mentioned over the next 12 months. That's what you're working to as a business overall. But for you, there will be some personal aspects to that, especially with joining as a CTO. Since starting, what's life been like in comparison to working for those big corporate companies?
Oh gosh, I'd say the problem space that we try to address understanding consumer buying behavior, interest, value set systems that they might have, propensity, incentive. We need to get stronger and better at doing that. So that involves a bunch of skill sets, and that I think that to deploy those in agriculture are relatively new.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, we also recognize that 90%, 95%, I think that's the stat, of produce is bulk buy, not directly farmers market or direct to consumer. And so the skill sets required to address bulk buying customer profiles, like sourcers, retailers, large brands, organizations, distributors, and so forth. How to integrate with those business processes and their systems is daunting. And so as far as skill sets go, the things I think about are how to build beautiful consumer-friendly experiences, how to take the insights to make that the platform more integrated with larger organizations and their sourcing practices and their systems. And lastly, how to reach all the producers around these underdeveloped nations primarily, how to reach them. And so edge compute is interesting, IoT is interesting, mobile app is interesting. I almost forgot to mention one of the most complicated pieces, how to pull all this data together and introduce machine learning in a way that makes sense to produce insights back to our sourcers and buyers so they can make wise decisions and matchmaking to find the right producers. But more importantly, we can create insights to give guidance back to farmers to help them optimize the sustainable practices they're already doing to increase their marketability and commercialization of what they do today. But in addition to that, provide guidance to say, if you did these other sustainable practices, you are now eligible for maybe certifications or maybe even a carbon credit marketplace product, or perhaps eligible for a government grant or a low interest, no interest loan or a subsidy. And in a way, I think about our platform as being a business suite for producers to grow their business that incentivizes them to adopt more sustainable practices. So the skills and talent that I think about are wide ranging, but I think about those edges. I think about the consumer side, and I think about the producers and optimize from there. And that's essentially the bookends of our platform.
I think to get a bunch of people together to work on something like that, where you have these two groups that you're servicing, I guess. Yep. It takes a certain type of person to want to dedicate their professional career in that area. I can imagine they're a great bunch of people, type of people I'd really like to talk to. But from a culture perspective, I think a lot of people have a stereotype or a pre-thought on what that bunch of people might be like. And this whole, like when people view climate change, they see it as people with, pitchforks on the side of the road. And I think it'd be interesting to hear what the team culture is like at Producers Market, and what are you striving for? What do you like to maintain when you keep that team culture?
Gosh, yeah, I might answer that question in two parts. One is my own, like what has life been like for me? Then maybe go into the team culture around me. For me, it's been immensely rewarding and incredibly fun. Since joining, I think I might be spending more time engaged with work by staring at the screen, but honestly, I love what I'm doing so much. I feel like I haven't worked a day since starting. I joined a team of people who I genuinely love and admire. I get the opportunity to partner with organizations that are actually solving humanity's greatest problems, and together we're making tangible progress in a business model that is self-sustaining. And so that's very fulfilling. As far as the rest of the team culture and such, I'm not the center of anything. I'd say the culture of all of us in the organization I'm part of and the ecosystem around us is centered on passion for the farmers and food systems. Interestingly, we have several engineers in my team that live on farms, manage farms, community programs. We have marketing team members who are award-winning culinary artists. And so connecting to food systems is our passion, I would say.
Yeah.
And so I think my contribution is really just joining a team of wonderful people where each of us are encouraged to be our best selves. We are all in this together and bring all of our experiences and skills to the fore with a relentless focus on serving customers with the highest expectation of authenticity and integrity of our products, and a deep compassion for producers. It's completely about them at the end of the day. If our platform can't help producers be successful, we are not successful.
Love that. Sounds like a great bunch of people. Thinking from day one to now, what's been the best thing so far?
Oh gosh, so yeah, it is so fulfilling to be able to contribute by leveraging my skills and experience to solve crazy hard challenges like food security, poverty, nutrition, greenhouse gas emissions. I was thinking about this the other day, and that early in my career, I was focused on solving really difficult engineering feats, the most scalable system, the most secure system. And then I shifted my career to retail, where I learned to solve the problem of how to connect with customers and their buying behaviors and bring in loyalty and strengthen engagement. And that's hard. So initially it was technical challenge, and then it was solving the challenge of engagement and customer loyalty and meeting people where they're at and integrating a retail brand into a person's lifestyle. And that was hard, and it still is very hard and daunting. But I feel like now the next challenge is how to enable a business model that is trying to save humanity. And so it's harder, I think, so, but, to me, I get a chance to contribute to these things. And I would say, if anything, I get to be a fresh pair of eyes on some of these long-standing issues where sometimes it's just the thing to break through and make progress. So it's very fulfilling to be part of that.
Love that. It sounds like you've tackled some of the big business questions in the past, and now you're trying to combine what is also a business question, because it's got to work, right? But coupling that with a real life world challenge that isn't going away for a while. I always ask this towards the end of the podcast, and I think it's really important that we conclude on this. If people listening only take one thing from the podcast, what would you like them to take away from this?
I'd say that it's our ability to align customer values to the impacts of their consumption is a key tool that will help us drive systemic change across the world. Okay, and so I would say be a conscious consumer and buy nutritious products that are sustainably produced whenever possible. We are all on a journey. Nobody's perfect, but we can get 1% better every day. And so that's probably my strongest message. And where my company sits is we can help with that. So you can always visit producersmarket.com and learn more about the producers and their products and see how they are making a difference. If you're interested, you can also sign up for our newsletter and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. But let's stay engaged. Let's lock arms. Let's be a part of the same movement together. Yes,
I love that. Well, I will link all of those things you've just mentioned in the post and in the comments. So if you've even found this remotely bit interesting and you just need to learn a bit more, or you're absolutely fascinated and are dying to get onto the website, please go check it out. I think for me, one of the key things about this is the first step is learning and understanding and just taking a little bit of time to know, yes, this is our world for the time that we live in it. But when you think about, selflessly think about the next 100 years, the choices we make now will make an impact. And like you said, 1% better as many times as we can in as many different aspects as we can, and it will be a much better place, not necessarily for us, for everyone else. Gabriel, thank you so much. I would love if in 12 months' time we do this again and we get to hear all about how things have changed and what missions you have achieved in that time. But I really appreciate you jumping on. It's been great.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.